Hi, hello, and welcome to Journey to SEA 2025, live on this Tuesday, 31st of December 2024. And I am hearing my own voice, so let me just mute that and we will get started. Oh, yeah, I'm thinking, this is our last live, not our last Journey to SEA 2025. It's just our last live because, well, I have a few announcements for you guys. Thank you for those of you who are able to join in. I know this is all year's day, lots and lots of things are happening, and I promise not to keep you too long. I know I usually say that, but this time I don't have slides or, any major lesson content to cover. What I'm going to be sharing with you is a few takeaways that I've had from this journey to SEA 2025 during this year, 2024, and some of the things that I've learned from students, parents, teachers, well wishers, lots of different information coming at me. And I want to update you on what's going to be happening for 2025 where the lives are concerned, as well as additional materials and information for you to work with the reports, the narratives, and the comprehension. So, all right, so let's get it out of the way. This, like I said, is going to be the last time I would be live, but it's not going to be the last Journey to SEA 2025. Now, I will continue streaming the episodes every Tuesday at 11, and because they're going to be recorded, they will actually be streamed at 11. The drama we have had over the years, even over the months and weeks and even today, trying to figure out how to work things out. So I'm sure you've noticed that the beginning was slightly different because I'm changing programs and making some other adjustments that would enhance the experience. It's just going to mean that I won't be here at 11 live every Tuesday, but what I'm going to be doing is recording the sessions and posting them, airing them, streaming them at the 11 o'clock time slot. So the schedule will continue, and later on today, I'm going to post the revised 2025 schedule, which would let you know what episodes and what topics would be covering every Tuesday starting next week. So next week would be the first content-based episode, and I would be sharing. So later on today, you could look in SEA Peacefield Approach, or you can look at our Facebook page. I would be sharing the information. So you'd get that episode by episode guide as always so that you can follow along, you can plan ahead, and you would have that as a study guide that you could work with from next week. All right. And in addition to that, I am going to be updating some things on my website, adding in some more information. I realize I haven't posted any new games in a little bit, but that's going to change from next week. So, pretty much from next week, Sunday, things would look a little bit different on the website and on my Facebook page. I'm going to be changing the name of the Facebook page. Right now, it is called Word Coach Youth. I'm going to be changing it to Creative Writing and Comprehension Resources. Um, that, of course, is to make it a little bit more accessible so that, everybody would know exactly what the page is about. And coming with those changes, I am actually also going to be doing what are called reaction videos. So I've been noticing a couple things. Let me see. I have that list here so that I could share some of that information with you. Um, the I've been looking at a few things where creative writing is concerned and additional resources for parents and teachers to work with students to really help them understand and master the creative writing and comprehension as well. And so I've found quite a few videos and articles that I think would be very useful to you. And so rather than just sharing the video and the article um, in its entirety, what I'm going to be doing is actually looking at it and commenting and adding my ideas to it because I think that is what's going to make it as relevant as possible. And so those will be coming out every Friday, starting next week, Friday. The first one I'm going to be doing is one called Help I'm Drowning in Writing Acronyms. And that came up because during the past few weeks in December, I have spent a lot of time creating worksheets and resources that I'm going to be uploading pretty soon and, refining those that I have. And I realized that, when it comes to like introductions, in particular narrative introductions, there's a challenge that students have in terms of remembering what to include. Sometimes they focus so much on certain aspects of the introduction, they neglect the other aspects of it. And so I created a couple acronyms for writing the first paragraph and second paragraph of the narrative. And so while I was doing that, I think I have like about there's the flavor acronym for setting description, charm acronym for um, character description. The introduction acronym for narratives is FLAIR, and the first paragraph acronym is CRASH. Now, if you want to know more about what those are all about, you can send me a message. My number is 7174993. Send me a WhatsApp and I'll give you the link to find out more information. As soon as the information is up, I'm also going to post the links in the chats and on the pages so that you'd be able to find out all of these things. Um, get all the details because in addition to the acronym, of course, what makes an acronym as useful as possible is a worksheet and explanation to come with it so that students could really understand and get into working the acronym and making it work for them. So I've tested out all of those acronyms with my students and they have made a difference in helping the students remember what to put where, and so I'm going to be sharing them with you. Of course, I'm not going to be able to give you a full explanation with the worksheet unless you're interested in a course, which I am working on. I have done over the vacation, I did 4 workshops for teachers and parents. Um, Let me see if I remember. I don't remember the names directly, but I'll tell you in a little bit. Yeah, so we looked at how to give writing feedback that helps students get better grades. We looked at improving sentence structure, descriptive writing that makes sense, and how to teach exciting stories. And so there's one other workshop that I'm developing that has to do with ending stories properly and effectively and with the kind of emphasis that the SEA style stories would need, or all stories actually. You really want to end a story with some kind of meaning when it comes to these really really short stories like what students are writing for SEA. And so I'm going to be adding that to the lineup, and that would be available, I'm hoping, by the end of next week. And I say hoping because, and here is the biggest announcement that I'm going to be making today. And the reason that I am no longer going to be able to do the lives on a Tuesday at 11 o'clock, like me being available at 11 o'clock is because I have accepted a position as a mentor. And this position as a mentor is going to have me flexible hours, but I am going to be unavailable at that time, 11 o'clock. And so I'm going to be mentoring trainers and tutors and students with the Ministry of Digital Transformation. And for those of you who don't know, the Ministry of Digital Transformation, of course, is on a mission to make the internet and the digital literacy really accessible and widespread throughout Trinidad and Tobago. And I am really in tune with what the ministry is doing. So when they opened up positions for mentorship, I kind of, I really jumped at the chance to do that because what I will be doing is working with the teachers to make sure that they material is accessible to the students, working with students to make sure they can navigate their way through the programs effectively, and training, continuing a lot of what I'm doing here with SEA, but not specifically geared to SEA because with the ministry, it's all about digital transformation. So, whatever courses are being offered and whoever is offering them, I'm working with teachers and students to make sure that they get the most out of it. So it's pretty much right up my alley. And it is going to be carrying me in a slightly different direction, but I still have that love for the creative writing and making sure that creative writing is accessible to everyone. When I say accessible, I know lots of people, students hate creative writing. They think it's tedious. They think they can't do it. And in addition to that, sometimes we have really well meaning tutors and trainers who offer misguided information. So, what's been happening is, coupled with the fact that many people don't like writing, we have a lot of misinformation and misguided attempts at supporting students and teachers, and that is compounding the situation. So, I am still committed to that. It'll just look a little bit differently. And so I know lots of people have reached out, and I haven't posted my schedule yet because I actually start on Thursday. Yep, 2nd of January, first working day of the year. I will be heading out and getting my stuff sorted out. So by the weekend, I'll be able to, really fine tune everything. But so far, I've worked out my Sunday classes continue. So if you are interested in doing the standard five drills. I still have the Sunday class with the standard five drills. The other slots are individual students, and I have one standard two class on Sundays. Um, I'm not really taking any new students in the standard two class, but if you're interested in getting the materials that I've created for that class, you can let me know. 717-4993. Send me a WhatsApp message. Um, and I will be putting it up on the website as well. But if you message me, then I'll have you on the radar and I'll remember to send you some information as soon as it's up and available to everyone. Or I can just, we can chat and I can send it to you directly. So I'm also going to be sharing a couple more free resources in terms of, what you can download and use, a few worksheets that would help you with the development of the creative writing and so on. So it's like a complete overhaul of what I'm doing. And I'm going to be A, recording the sessions, B, offering a few more free worksheets, and C, offering tons more worksheets for you to access. And one of the worksheets that I'm most proud of, let me just give you a little idea here because I Like I said, my I didn't really have any break during between the end of term and now, because I spent most of my time creating worksheets. So I have worksheets for quick marking. So I'm going to make that one available. It's the same rubric, but it allows you to, make notes really quickly. So this one is great for teachers, but I also have what parents can benefit from, um, story transitions. And that's a thing that I feel like a lot of writers don't understand, story transitions, and it's something that teachers might not be able to explain fully to students as well. So having it in the classroom, as well as a parent having these story transitions, they really do help, because I've seen a lot of students, what makes their stories feel very kind of like awkward or a little bit rigid, not as exciting and descriptive, is because they use many of the same transitions that they would use in a report. And while transitions like those are useful, the way they are used would be slightly different for a narrative, simply because the purpose of a narrative is very different from the purpose of a report. So using story transitions effectively really make a difference. And so in that worksheet, um, story transitions, I have two um, categories, I guess. So, we call them sudden action, where you introduce a sudden action to add excitement, and that is used as a transition to, change the mood of the story. So there's a whole explanation with that one. And I also have one on changing time. Now, when you want to transition a story, you want to go from one point to another, you can do several things. You can introduce a new action. So you're like, walking home one evening and something suddenly jumped out at you. That's a sudden action where this thing jumps out at the character. Change in time, where you want to have, okay, from morning to afternoon or from midday to afternoon, time passing. There are transitions that you could work on, that you could use that show that change in time. You can also use emotions as a transition. And so there are a few. The two that I have complete already that are included in the worksheets, in the package, would be the change in time and the sudden action. But I'm also working on three others that would be added in another package. And so story transitions, really awesome. Those are going to be shared. Couple other worksheets, character descriptions, where I'm using the acronym CHARM, and CHARM stands for clothing, hair, accessories, radiance, and markings. All of that is explained in the worksheet. Then we have the descriptive writing, where I'm using flavor as a setting description acronym, where we feel with fingers, we listen, we look at the action, we visualize things. What do we see? Then we have odors, which would be smells. We have uncovering tastes, and then the reaction, which is the emotional aspect of it. And yes, emotional reactions to the setting play a role in setting description. They allow you to create that description in action kind of feeling, which, by the way, I have a worksheet on. Yeah, guys, I told you, I was like eating, breathing worksheets over the past few weeks, because I did, and for each after each explanation, there are definitions and several worksheets. So when I say worksheet, I really mean worksheet package, because it's not just one worksheet you're going to be getting in that is going to be at least three. Each of the packages that I have for each topic has at least three worksheets. I have one on joining sentences. There's a particular kind of descriptive sentence that students can create where they do two descriptions and an action, or two descriptions and two actions in the sentence. There's a specific way to put it together. And believe it or not, these are templates that students can start with. Of course, when the student gets familiar with the worksheet and with the sentence structure, with the descriptions, they can play with it. And, the sky's the limit where imagination is concerned within the structure, but they do have to learn the structure. And sometimes these things are not explicitly taught, and so students don't know how to put together sentences. They know they have to add adjectives, and so they give you a string of adjectives or they give you a string of actions, but it's not as meaningful as it could be in the story. And so I spent most of my time creating resources for the narratives because I already have tons of resources for report writing. I have the textbook and the worksheets and the let me see in it, so textbook, worksheets, journal, and the um oh, why is this slipping me? Five reports challenge. So I already have a lot of material for report writing. If your child or students are struggling with report writing, send me a message, 717-4993 WhatsApp, and I would put you on to how you can get a copy of those resources. I did also create a few worksheets for additional worksheets for report writing that would also be available. So most of my time was spent with that because one of the things that I've learned and it's just been reinforced over and over, it's not enough to tell students, it's not even enough to show students. We really do have to give students the opportunity to practice and to engage with what it is we're sharing with them. And so when I talk about multisensory learning, it's not just multisensory learning in the sense that we're doing all these fun experiments and activities and so on. And PS, by the way, as an aside, what I've decided to do in the worksheets. So each worksheet has an activity, and so a lot of the activities that I do with my own students, I'm giving instructions and diagrams and outlines of how you can do it with your child or your students so that you could, really make creative writing as engaging as possible. Plus, of course, there'd be an explanation of how to relate it to the topic at hand. So there is that when it comes to multisensory learning. But even after that, if that is where we stop, then we're not going to get the kind of impact or the kind of retention that we're looking for. What really is absolutely necessary is the follow up with worksheets where students can engage and practice and explore and have fun with the writing on their own, of course, within context and guidance. That's what the worksheet is for. And really, when worksheets are being created, you want to move from the very simple, look at this picture, respond to it, you have a template, fill in these lines, toward here's a prompt, respond to it. You really want to guide students through that process. And so most of the worksheet packages that I've created give students that kind of process. So we start with photos with line by line, answer this question, gather these details, put them together in a sentence, then put them together in a paragraph, then you write your own story, complete story, incorporating these ideas. And so we're moving through that process. So I am really excited to share these with you because I've worked on them for a long time. I've tested them out with students. I've shared them with other teachers to get feedback. And so they are the most engaging that I could come up with at this time. And of course, I would constantly be reviewing them, and eventually I might see things like, oh my goodness, how could I put that here? It happens. If you get one of the worksheets and you see something that you think, Miss Shaw, you want to have this here? Message me. I'm open to that kind of conversation to make the changes because what's the agenda? I'm here to offer my support to parents and teachers so that students can really engage with the creative writing as best as they can. We don't want students going into the exam traumatized. We don't want them heading into Form 1 traumatized about writing and then they realize is not just for SEA. They're doing some of these same things over, but at a higher level in Form 1 and Form 2. And then guess what? They're going to see it at CSEC again. So you really want to lay that foundation. And the worksheets that I'm talking about, they are not geared toward SEA. They're geared toward improving writing. So students at any level having trouble with these kinds of issues, character description, setting description would benefit from the worksheets. And so I realized that while I can teach my students and I can share certain things with my students, I'm only one person. So I want to make as much material available to parents and teachers so that many, many more students can be impacted positively because every year it hurts my heart every year when SEA results come out and we see these totally distressing statistics about creative writing. And now I understand as I was going through well, I mean, it's SEA in general, math, creative writing, and comprehension at the ELA section. And this situation could be dealt with, but we have to deal with it in a particular way. I mean, there are lots of other amazing tutors and instructors out there doing their part, but we're only able to impact the people that we could, like arm's reach kind of thing. I want to go beyond that because it's I don't know if we realize how creative writing and the distress created at the primary school level where creative writing is concerned, how that impacts on people, on the workforce, on every level of society. Because I know for those of you who've been following their lives, you would know that I used to be a university lecturer and I taught not only university courses such as interpersonal and intercultural communication, communication skills, I taught academic writing, and I taught communication in the classroom. So I've been dealing with teachers for a long time, and I understand the distress in the classroom. And what happens a lot is that many teachers don't teach writing the way it can be taught because they themselves have their own block where the writing is concerned. And so, my mission to address all of that is going to be changing the way it looks in 2025 a little bit so that I can impact as many people as possible, not just those who happen to take a course with me or whose child is in my class. I don't want to impact only the students and people that I could reach out and touch. I want to impact as many as possible. So you'd be seeing a lot more of me. Funny enough, even though I'm not going to be doing the Journey to SEA 2025 as a live, you will be seeing more of me because I will be sharing more details, more information. So, what is that going to look like? One, the live is going to be recorded, so you'll get the full episode of the live every Tuesday. Two, I'm going to be breaking up the episode into sound bites and chunks and video clips that would be shared throughout the week. Some of that has been done, but not as consistently as I would like. So I'm going to be sharing that more on Facebook and Instagram. Then I'm also going to be doing the reaction videos, which I mentioned to you before, starting with that one on the acronyms, because I thought it was so funny when that came to me while I was preparing a whole list of worksheets with X amount of acronyms in them. And so I'm going to start with that one. So those will come out every Friday. So the lives will be every Tuesday. The clips will be throughout the entire week. The reaction videos would be on a Friday. On a Thursday, I'm going to be sharing a blog. So I stacked up a list of, I have at least 12 episodes already done, um, blog articles that starting, would be going out from next week, Thursday or Wednesday. I don't remember exactly what date, but you can look out for that. And in addition to that, I've also created materials, like I said, that would be accessible to you in the sense that you don't always have to purchase something to get a worksheet. You would be able to go to my website and find free resources where you can get a template or a worksheet or a guide that you'd be able to use to support your child or students with the creative writing. I'm also going to be creating, well, packaging because they're already done, packaging and uploading courses that you'd be able to access. Some of them would be paid, one or two of them would be free, where you'd be able to find out more about multisensory learning, what that would look like in the classroom, how you could use multisensory principles in engaging with your child or your students. So a ton of information would be coming your way, all easily accessible and downloadable and shareable from my website, which has been updated. It looks fairly similar to what it was before, but it has been updated, and I'm going to be adding more information when I come off from this live. There's some other details that would be going up, so we're kind of revising the website to make it more accessible. All the Journey to SEA 2025 videos are on the website, so you can access them. And between now and the next live, which would be, I keep saying live, it's out of habit, the next episode, which will be next week, Tuesday, and heading into the term, you can go back and find lots of details on any topic that you could think of related to the creative writing, narrative writing, report writing, and comprehension. And I haven't forgotten the comprehension, the worksheets for the comprehension. I'm almost finished. I know I've been saying that for a couple of weeks now, but I got obsessed with the narrative writing worksheets and kind of put a lot of attention there. So I'm back to those are finished. So I'm back to the comprehension worksheets, just to fine tune them because comprehension is such a tricky thing. I don't want to just complete the worksheet and put it out. I do have to check it ever so often, make sure the answers are appropriate and the reading is appropriate. I've seen some practice worksheets with readings and articles that are beyond students when students don't understand comprehension test taking strategies. I keep telling my students, you don't need to know the whole read the whole article and understand the whole article to answer questions. You're only going to be asked 7 questions on this passage. Those are the questions you need to be able to answer. You don't need to know everything about the passage. You're only going to be asked 7 questions on this poem. You don't need to fully understand the poem to answer those 7 questions. You're only going to be asked 4 questions on the graphic. You don't need to understand the whole graphic in order to answer those four questions, but you do need to understand certain things and be able to, zero in and analytically pull out what it is you need. And so I'm going to be putting out some more information on the comprehension as well. And so that is my update, my big announcements. So things are going to be changing. And I thought it was so fitting that today is the 31st. It's the last day of the year. And this is the last that you would be seeing this version of me live. I am actually here. If somebody calls me now, my phone will ring and you would hear it. Um, well, no, you won't hear it because it's on silent. But you know what I mean. Um, but I'm still going to be around. I will still be active in SEA Peacefield Approach. In fact, I think I would probably be a little bit more active because you know how it goes. When you have less time and you have to schedule things, you actually do get more done than if you have all the time in the world to get the thing done. And there's this principle of, the activity expands to fill the time. It's is pretty much that way with me. So now that I'd be working during the day, by the time I get home in the evening, I'm still going to be running my classes for the term because I have students preparing for SCA. I'm still going to be working with them. Slightly adjusted time, might be a little bit later, so I won't be starting at 5. Classes would start at 6 instead, and then the Sunday classes, trying to funnel as many people as possible to the Sunday classes instead. But I'm still going to be around, so I'm still going to be posting, sharing information, making materials available, answering questions. So if you have questions about narrative writing or um, the report writing or comprehension, message me. 717-4993. That's my number. Send me a WhatsApp message. I may not be able to answer you right away, but I will be able to eventually answer you. And I would also incorporate it into the next recording that I do for the recorded Journey to SCA 2025. And so everyone will benefit from your questions. Ask your questions, get the support that you need, and I really do look forward to keeping in contact with you through the Facebook page. And it's going to be called the Creative Writing and Comprehension Resources for primary school. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to add in the for primary school. I probably will because those would be the primary group of resources. When I eventually add in specific to secondary school, which yes is still in the plan, I'm going to change the name at that point. But for now, yeah, so that's what we'd be working on. So on my Facebook page, I'll be sharing tons more information within SCA Peacefield Approach. I'm going to be checking in daily as I usually do. I don't always comment or post, but I do check in to see what's happening and what the challenges are so that I could support parents and teachers as best as possible. And of course, if you want my direct feedback on something in the group SCA Peaceful Approach, tag me. Just put the ad sign and my name, and it'll come up in my notifications, and so that I would come in and answer and respond to you as best as I can. So that's it. That's a wrap. And I don't know, I feel kind of nostalgic. I'm gonna miss the drama on the Tuesday morning. I am so gonna miss the drama, the program feeling, the forgetting to play the video and all those things, man. I have learned so much from doing these programs. The number one thing that I've learned is about being resilient and just like going with the flow because it's never truly as bad as we think. I mean, it could get really bad, kind of, Lord take me kind of bad, but there's always a silver lining somewhere. There's always, a ray of sunshine somewhere. There's always that glimmer of hope, even if it might be really small, there's always that glimmer of hope. And so, this is what I want you to take going into 2025. There is always hope. You may not feel it, you may not see it yourself, but this is why we live in community and this is why we're helping and supporting each other. We're not meant to do these things alone. We're meant to help each other and just to be there. Even if it means just, let's all cry together so that we could vent and then, be able to reconnect with our source of knowledge. Sometimes that's what we need, but we're not meant to do these things alone. So I really do want you to take that into 2025. It's not as bad as it may seem, even though you might need to cry and vent and, just get it out and then reach out, get some help. If not from me, there are lots of others who are quite capable to support. You're not in this alone, even though sometimes it might feel like that. You're not in it alone. And take that, hold on to it in 2025 so that you can keep courage and keep strong in the midst of all the drama and all the chaos. And I mean, with the announcements that we've had recently, like yesterday with the whole stuff that's happening in Trinidad and Tobago right now, we don't know how bad it could really get, but there is always still hope somewhere, and once we keep that faith, we'd be able to find it. So I am signing off. Like it's almost like if I don't even want to say goodbye because I won't be seeing you next week Tuesday. I'll be there, but as a recording, it's just such a weird concept to me. But thank you so much for those of you who were able to take the time off of this busy All Year's Day. I know lots of things, everybody's going here, they're preparing for, the New Year's and All Year's festivities. I wish you a safe one. Please keep safe and be careful out there as we wrap up 2024 and head into 2025 with gratitude and a smile and faith that it'll all work out in the end. So that's it. Time to say goodbye. Bye, everybody. Take care. Have a wonderful one and Happy New Year.